9:30 a.m., during the beginning of Handy Manny, the feed was suddenly interrupted, and in its place was a hardcore adult film. While there are
There is no way! But I'm gonna find that piece of papa and I'm gonna beat him up like this. But if he's a Mexican, bro, we don't claim him. Simple as that.
There are no reports on how long the interruption lasted.
Wait, off topic, but she's pretty.
The claims range from less than a minute to several minutes. It just showed up with no warning, and as mentioned previously, spread around news outlets almost immediately. It was confirmed through these reports that the hijacking was isolated to the Middletown, New Jersey area, more specifically Lincroft, so it wasn't a nationwide incident. Though one parent from the area named Paul was very vocal about what was shown. It was two people doing their thing. It was full on and
Wait, they were already doing it? Oh, that's bad.
it was disgusting. I try to protect my kids from a lot of things, but I wouldn't have thought Disney would become one.
Disney, what are you doing? Relax, bro. Mickey, I know you want to date Minnie and do that stuff, but chill.
One of them. My son was extremely upset because he thought he'd done something wrong, and we're hoping what he saw doesn't become an issue for him.
No way.
After the damage had already been done, the question became for parents like Paul and Disney, how did this happen? Despite what Paul mentioned in his interview, that he can't believe Disney is something they have to protect their son from, Disney was not the company to blame for this. Comcast admitted that they were
Of course it's Comcast! Of course that darn company.
responsible for the error. It happened at one of their local facilities and was described as an isolated issue by spokesperson Fred DeAndrea. He didn't provide any details on how long the hijacking lasted or how many homes may have seen it, but it must have been a lot for so many news articles to have picked up the story. Disney and the State Board of Public Utilities did end up reaching out to Comcast afterwards and asked them to take appropriate measures to make sure such an occurrence doesn't happen again. This was reconfirmed in a statement from Disney stating, Comcast has taken full responsibility for this situation, and we understand that they are currently working to determine the root cause of the incident.
The root cause is a person that's really aged.
Comcast ended up reaching out to Paul personally and apologizing, following an investigation into the cause of this. But unfortunately, they never reported their findings publicly, so it's not known if anyone was caught or got in trouble for it.
God,
Over the years, there's been quite a bit of debate online surrounding how this happened or who could have done it, with some theories pointing towards the likelihood that signals had accidentally been switched or it ended up airing on TV by accident. But these instances seem fairly unlikely. Believe it or not, hijacking broadcast signals to show adult content has been a pretty frequent occurrence over the years. Several years later, in 2012, Disney was targeted again when 6 minutes of a hardcore adult movie were shown during Lilo and Stitch on Disney Junior.
Lilo and Stitch? No! What do you ruin that good show? Adore. No way, bro.
The successor to Playhouse Disney. Earlier
Someone decided to do a sequel to it. In 6 minutes, that means it was longer.
than that, in March 2010, Time Warner Cable's transmissions of kids and preschool kids content was replaced with Playboy TV for 2 hours.
Whoever has Playboy TV, be ashamed of yourself. You pussy. Even though I know you like that stuff. Still.
But perhaps the most relevant example related to the Handy Manny incident
Yes,
happened only 2 years after in a very similar way. This story also made headlines back in 2009 because it happened during one of the most viewed
No way! It was on the Super Bowl?
television events here in the US, the Super Bowl.
That's why football is better.
At another Comcast facility in Tucson, Arizona, NBC's signal was replaced with 37 seconds of another adult movie
Oh my
and interrupted
God,
the
bro.
game during the fourth quarter.
Ain't no way.
In this instance, Comcast did claim it was an isolated, malicious act, and 3 days later, a former Cox Cable employee
my
was
God.
arrested and pleaded guilty to 2 counts of computer tampering.
What a-
And in the case of the Handy Manny
What a dum-dum.
interruption, it also seems very likely that this would be the result of a malicious act. Though
Really?
since the issue has long since been concluded, it's likely that we'll never get an official statement on the results of the investigation. As for the broadcast hijacking itself, the recording of the incident is still lost, but you
Ugh,
can
don't
find
show
some
it.
discussion about it online. There was a thread created on Reddit from March 2022 who was attempting to find someone with a copy, and there's another thread from a day after it happened that discusses the incident as a whole on the Unexplained Mysteries forums. The author, who lives in New Jersey, asks if any of his fellow New Jersey dwellers had been watching Disney Channel at the time of the broadcast, but no one in the thread claims to have seen it. For the sake of preservation and broadcast hijack history, I suppose it's something that has value to some people. But
Why
overall,
do you wanna see
it's nothing
that?
nearly as original as Max Headroom or Captain Midnight. I'm not sure how anyone would go about finding it nowadays, but it must have been seen by a lot of viewers to have been reported on so much. But even if a copy of
Oh
it
my
does
God.
resurface, the reason or person behind the incident will remain a mystery and live in the ranks of unsolved television hijackings. Hey guys, I hope you
That was crazy, bro. Imagine I get hacked and broadcast it on and they show PM. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Am I gonna cry? Am I gonna be sad? I don't know. I don't know. They better not do that to me. Anyway, guys. W.